The March 17th primary is just around the corner, and a lot of decisions are going to have to be made. Number one, you're going to grab a Democratic ballot and see what's good in the U.S. Senate race with 10 different candidates there. Or are you going to grab a Republican ballot and get a choice for not just U.S. Senate, but also governor, with 4 candidates on the Republican ballot for governor to take on J.B. Pritzker in November. And we've talked with several of the candidates. We now chat live with Rick Heidner, one of the 4 on the ballot for that March 17th primary. Rick, thanks for taking time with us this morning, live with Illinois in Focus Daily. Let's start off with, telling people who you are and why you come to this race.
Well, good morning, Greg, and thank you very much for having me on your show. My name's Rick Heidner. I'm running for governor of our beautiful state of Illinois. And a little bit about my background. I'm a businessman. I'm a self-made businessman. When I was 1 and my brother was 2, my mother and father divorced, and he left and we never saw him again. My mother never remarried, and she was a housekeeper, maid, and a hostess. So we really struggled. So part of what I like to say is that I can really resonate with every single person probably out there. I have started with absolutely nothing, started working at 6 and 7 years old with my brother and my mother, and built up. By the time I was 16 and a half years old, I had my own business. I realized that you had to have your own business if you wanted to be successful. And everything was, whatever I did the next thing that went along with that, and did the next thing that went along with that. And as a family, my wife and my 5 children, today we have 4 major businesses: petroleum business, Ricky Rockets Fuel Center business, Gold Rush Gaming business, and a real estate business. We employ about 800 employees, have 280 buildings in 12 states, about 800 tenants, and 11 Ricky Rockets Fuel Centers. And with all the buildings that I've built and all the business that I've done, we probably have, with all of that stuff too, there's probably 10,000 jobs out there that we've created.
Of course, getting into politics is a kind of a different beast altogether, and we'll see how this plays out coming up to the March 17th primary. And a note to those voters, early voting has begun across most of the state. So it is that time of the year. But let's get to some questions that I've asked all the other candidates here. How do you distinguish yourself from those other Republican candidates who, some have political experience?
So, when I look at Illinois and I realize how dysfunctional it is and how many businesses have left Illinois, and the biggest thing that puts me to the side of the other ones, because we all pretty much feel the same way when it comes to the Safety Act, getting rid of it, and the sanctuary state, and so many other things. I'm all about school choice, but when it comes to running the state, I think we should run the state like a business, like President Trump has run the United States, and the great things that he's accomplished so far. This last fall session, all I kept seeing and all I kept hearing is, how much more are we going to charge you? How much more are we going to, add 45 cents to the tolls? And I think we should charge a fee on picking up your garbage. You never hear about them talking about bringing more business to Illinois. It's just been the opposite. All the good business people are being driven out of Illinois. When I saw Ken Griffin basically fed up and leaving with 1,100 of the best jobs we have in Illinois, and one of the most charitable men maybe on earth, it just breaks my heart. And I want to take the state of Illinois and make it from a state of take, and make it to a state of make.
Rick, you've been in this now for a few months. You've had some interactions with the media as a Republican in Illinois. How do you plan to navigate a potentially hostile press?
Well, I navigated them before, and unfortunately, I feel they've been tremendously unfair to me, especially. In the past, I was hoping that, maybe they could get out of their own way and accept that they were wrong. But it's really sad, to be honest with you. I mean, I spent 14 minutes with one of the Tribune writers, and every question, everything, he's even agreeing with me, and they just write nothing, or they take one sentence and they want to bash something. So I call them all paid for news at this point, at least the newspapers.
What about the state's geography, right? I mean, obviously, a lot of downstate residents are going to pick a Republican in the November election, but you've got to get through that primary. How do you get across to Chicago and the Chicago suburbs?
Well, I've done a tremendous amount of business in Illinois, and I'm born and raised here, and I've worked with a lot of the legislators on both sides of the aisle. And my name recognition, obviously, is we've been working on it and working on it. I went from 0 to 11% in 2.5 weeks, and people are really liking what I'm saying. And I'm moving up, and I plan on continuing moving up. When I looked at the playing field, I entered the race very, very late, and when I looked at the playing field, I just didn't see any path to anyone being able to beat JB Pritzker, and that's why I jumped in. If we would have, where you could only run twice for governor, and that's the first thing I'm going to do when I get into office. I want to have term limits. Everybody that talks to me, if there was only 2 term limits, I wouldn't have even had to run.
Talking with Rick Heidner. He is one of the 4 Republicans running for the March 17th primary to take on Governor J.B. Pritzker in November. Another question, how do you tap into some of those groups that are in Chicago, like Chicago Flips Red? What kind of communication have you had with them? Do you anticipate having that communication with them? What does that look like?
Once again, I've worked all over the city. I have many Democratic friends and of all ethnic groups. I have talked to Chicago Flips Red. We had a wonderful conversation. I think they really understand me. We shared some information that helps both of us. And I think I'm going to have a really good path with them. I have a really good feeling, and I think, like I said, I really believe that we definitely speak the same language.
Now, let's say you get past the primary. The governor, he's got $1 billion plus, $3+ billion, and he's put in $300+ million so far in his political career. How do you plan to go up against Governor J.B. Pritzker's millions when it comes to politics?
I obviously fund some of my own campaign. I can't be anywhere near what he could do, but I believe once we get past the primary, we'll be able to, the Republican, especially if it's me, will be able to, I think a lot of people believe that I could beat him, and I absolutely believe I could beat him. And I believe that I'll be able to raise a lot of money with help with that. It's really sad the way that politics has become basically how big of a check you could write and you can be governor. I think it's very sad.
Rick, say you get past the primary, you beat the other 3 candidates. It's now time for the election cycle of the general midterm primary, and say you win that. You beat Pritzker. How do you work with what's expected to remain a Democrat supermajority legislature?
So I've already worked with a lot of these people already. I have a lot of respect for politicians, and they have a lot of respect for me. I've worked with both sides of the aisle. I'm going to have an open door policy. My door is open always. Somebody wants to come in and talk about something, of course, the first thing I'm going to do again is talk about term limits. And then we can have additional conversations. As long as people are reasonable, as long as they're actually trying to help Illinois and worry about the people and put the money in the right spots, my door will be wide open. I've had already a lot of Democratic friends, Democrat politician friends, call me and actually thank me for running, and can't wait if I win.
Now, Democrat legislature expected. What about President Donald Trump? How would you, in the state of Illinois, that has historically been antithetical to the Trump administration, how would you work with the president?
Well, I've hosted at my house Donald Jr. I've hosted at my house with fundraisers, Eric Trump. I've hosted at my house Sarah Huckabee Sanders. I have a rapport, at least somewhat of a rapport with the family. I mean, the first thing that happens when I walk in office is I'd like to freeze all taxes, no tax increases, until we go through every single solitary section of every part of the government and clean out whatever problems there are and waste there is. The other thing I want to do is we are no longer a sanctuary state. That's done and over with. The Safety Act, gone. One of the biggest reasons I ran, the absolute biggest reason I ran, is because I just couldn't stand to see anymore all these people getting hurt, all this crime going on, all this revolving door of people getting out of you're arrested, you're in there for 4 hours, you sign your name, you get out. It's so ridiculous. Not turning over people that we have in prison that are convicted or just hardened criminals from other countries, and we know they are, but they did a lesser crime here. So instead of turning them over to ICE, we let them out so that they can harm people. That's all that stuff's happening the first day.
Property taxes, highest in the nation. You've got members of Cook County that are burning their property tax receipts. How do you tackle property taxes, especially as the legislatures recognize there really is a local issue that needs to be tackled by local taxing bodies? What can you, as a governor, do to address that issue?
Well, once again, I don't want to raise any taxes on anything. I want to put a freeze so we don't raise any taxes until we look at everything. I think there's tremendous waste. We went from a $38 billion budget to a $56 billion budget since J.B. Pritzker's been in office. One of my industries that I'm in, my tax has gone up 17%, just one. Of my 280 buildings, 250 of them probably, or 240 of them are in Illinois. So I understand property taxes probably as much as anyone in the world. We have to freeze everything. We have to chop. Then we have to bring business into Illinois, because as we bring more and more business in, we create so much more tax. We don't have to increase any tax. We just need to do more business. That creates a tremendous amount more tax, and then we can start lowering all the taxes. It's not going to be a one-day job. It's not going to be a one-day job. I understand exactly what we have to do. I understand exactly what we have to do.
Talk about the pension liability. How would you get a handle on that? It seems that, it's 140 billion liability, and it's not just the state liability. You get down to the local level as well. And a lot of local municipalities, all of their share of property taxes is going to pensions. How do you tackle that as a governor?
Well, I don't know how we go backwards and take away from people that work their whole lives, and we promise them what we promised them, and they worked for it. That for me is very difficult. But we're going to have to bite the bullet or do buyouts or do some things that maybe we can do. But when it comes to anybody that wants to come to work for the government, starting a certain day, we'll have to negotiate with the unions and things. But the programs have to change. People getting 2 and 3 pensions, a 20-year career or a 15-year career or 20-year career. It's just not working, and the age brackets aren't working. So we have to look at all of that. We have to address it. And if we would have done that 15 or 20 years ago, or 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever you want to say, we wouldn't be kicking the ball down the down the road just to make something that's so egregious. I mean, that's well over $100,000 per person in Illinois, just for pensions. It's probably 150 when you really add it all up, that we all owe. So the biggest thing is we have to stop it, and then we have to catch up to it. It definitely won't be fixed in my term. It won't be fixed in anyone's term. But we have to start addressing it, and it's going to be a negotiations and a little difficult conversations. But then if a policeman and he realizes what his pension's going to be, he can decide if he wants to become a policeman. They can decide if they want to be a fireman. But to take it away from them after they've worked for it, I have a problem with that.
Finally, Rick, when it comes to population, we have seen recent census estimates that indicate Illinois has gained population, though it has not gotten to where it was in 2020 or in even before then. How do we reverse that trend of either declining or stagnant population in the state of Illinois?
Well, such an easy answer, stop destroying everything here. Stop. We are the apple of the Midwest. I mean, think of what we have. Think of our skyline, our lake, our Navy Pier, our museums, and you look at the constant driving of good people out of here. Look at New York City. Everybody from New York City that wants to leave New York City, they should be coming here to Illinois. They should be coming to our lakefront. They're just flying over the top of us, and they're going to Texas, or they're going to Florida. We should be the next Florida. We should be Texas. Instead of driving good people, like I said, like Ken Griffin out of here, or Boeing, or just so many, Caterpillar. It's insanity to me. And population isn't up. You must be counting all the illegal immigrants. It's just really, really sad. It's really, really sad. I always say, you want to be a sanctuary state. Let's be a sanctuary state for our veterans. Let's help our veterans. I know so many situations, we're paying for hotels for immigrants to stay in there. One guy's $330,000 a month to house illegal immigrants. I know there's been people here a long time. If we would have done it right with ICE would have been in it. The federal government would have been in and out of here in 6 to 8 weeks. Instead, we're over 200 days here. And we're just doing all the wrong things so that J.B. Pritzker could stand on the soapbox and run on Jimmy Kimmel and run on Colbert's show and, run for president. It's sad. It's sad for me. And I just can't stand to see all these people getting harmed so badly. And again, that's the biggest reason. I could fix the rest of it. The rest is business to me. And I actually could work with everybody. So it's a big plus. It's a big plus.
Well, Rick, tell us where people can find more information about your candidacy and your campaign.
So rickforillinois.com. I want to say this, I have stuff on there that you could read about me. There's a 5.5-minute clip. They did a little show, The American Dream, from Bloomberg, and Eric Roberts narrated it. And it really, really tells a lot about my life. There's also something down there that, there's history there. This is such an important thing. First of all, please, everyone, go out and vote in the primary. Because if you can't spend 1 hour, okay, I'm spending millions of dollars. I'm spending all my time. This is a dangerous thing for me to do, to be honest with you, because I'm in a regulated business and J.B. Pritzker is actually my regulator. And if you can't spend 1 hour to get to know me so that you can make the right decision, so that you could see who I am and where I came from and how hard I've worked and how hard I will work for you, my heart and my soul is in the right place. And I'm doing this for all the right reasons. I have no alternative agenda, zero. And so if I ask you to spend 1 hour or even longer and listen to me when I've spoken, you don't have to come out to a speech, just listen and see where I can read the magazine, the quintessential Barrington magazine about me and my life and my family. And I did all that. That all happened before I decided to run. So I would appreciate that. I really think you should make that hour or two investment.
Rick Heidner, one of the candidates running for Illinois governor on the Republican tickets on the March 17th primary. Greatly appreciate you spending the morning with us here for Illinois in Focus Daily.
Well, I really, really appreciate, the live broadcasts and the fairness, because again, some of the media doesn't treat me very well. So I really do appreciate it, Greg. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And it is Illinois in Focus Daily. You can catch the program each and every weekday morning here with The Center Square, and get more details and headlines at thecentersquare.com. All right, stay tuned. We've got more coming up here for Illinois in Focus Daily.